Hello everybody, I am Luciana, the Emotional Mastery Coach, and in this video I will be talking about our emotions and our addiction to food. And I find this to be a very important topic because for many of us, since we have not been taught how to deal with our emotions, we've learned to self-medicate, and many of the times it is through food. And I find this is important to talk about because at the root of this issue is where a lot of eating disorders come from, a lot of issues with addiction in general, not only towards food. And it's important to be honest and vulnerable with ourselves and begin to assess, am I using food to not cope with how I feel? That is the main question that I'm going to invite you to ask yourself. For some of you, the answer may be very, very obvious as a big yes. And I can relate to that because I experienced that for a long, long time. And sometimes under high levels of stress or high levels of anxiety, I still do. And so I know the feeling of so much is going on inside. Our body feels so overwhelmed, so stressed, so anxious, so much emotion, that the only thing we can do to cope is grab that fourth donut or whatever it may be. Now, I'm gonna invite you as you watch this video to just begin to take some deep conscious breaths, meaning just take a deep breath into your abdomen, imagining as if your belly is a balloon and it gets filled with air, and you exhale. Because I only hope that the information that I'm going to be sharing with you is not something that just comes through one ear and into your mind, but that it allows you to connect with your emotions, which is the important thing. So if you do find yourself using food to self-medicate due to anxiety, stress, or any other emotions that maybe sometimes we don't even know what to call them, the first things that I want to say is that there is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you, and don't believe your mind when it tries to bring you down to tell you that you're not enough for overeating again, or you're not enough for maybe even not eating. That is the first thing the mind is going to do, is judge you for your actions, because the mind is there to try to find a solution to the problem. So it's trying to find who's at fault. And a lot of the times it gets stuck in that loop. Now, I always like to explain how we have a mental body and an emotional body. The emotions are like the fire of a bonfire. The negative, cloudy, destructive thoughts are just the smoke. So we can go like this and just say happy affirmations about how we're okay, but if we don't address the way that we feel, more of those thoughts are going to come up. So if we want to get through the cloudy negative thoughts into the emotions, we first have to begin to accept what my mind's telling me about this is not 100% true. Yes, maybe I have been using food to self-medicate, to deal with difficult emotions, because I don't know any other way how to do it. And accepting that may help us begin to surrender. Nobody taught you how to deal with your emotions. Nobody taught us this as a society, or even through their generations in our family. So we're all pretty much on our own, trying to do our best. Now, I really hope that if doing this at this point may have already put you in a place in your life where it's becoming very destructive, hopefully this helps you begin to deal with it differently. So imagine that for all of these years, you've had this system in you that's called your emotions. They don't make you weak. They don't make you less. They're a part of who you are, but with no instruction manual. So you've been trying to just deal with them. However, now you want to begin to deal with your emotions more consciously, being more aware of them. Now, so like I said, the step one is let's not judge ourselves for how we've dealt with it in the past. Now, maybe you have arrived at the conclusion, I do grab that third donut, or whatever it may be, when I'm feeling very anxious or very overwhelmed? What can I do differently? The first thing that I'm going to invite you to do is to take a moment every single day to do like an emotional check-in with yourself about how you feel. When you do this the first couple of times, it may even feel weird or random because you're like, what do you mean how I'm feeling? I'm fine, because some days you're okay. A lot of us, we don't even understand that there's emotions there unless it's like very extreme emotions, like very extreme fear or panic or anxiety or sadness. Outside of that, we don't even recognize that there is always some sort of emotional movement going on. So unless you stop every day, even if it's like, I know we hate hearing somebody say like, do this every day, journal every day, say your affirmations. It's like, oh my God, why? Like, I don't want to. But trust me, it is worth investing little moments in yourself so you yourself can feel better. So taking a moment, even if it's before bed, like don't change your schedule, don't do anything differently, you're already in bed, trying to fall asleep, then use that time to assess your emotions and find out how it is that you're feeling. How do we do this? We simply begin to breathe. All of us, our attention is always outside of ourselves. What we want to do is bring our attention within ourselves so we can really see what's going on. You want to begin doing that even today. You're watching this for a reason. I mean, for some reason you landed it on this video. So maybe today, before you go to bed or whatever you're doing right now, even pause me right now, but take a moment to breathe consciously and just ask yourself, how do I feel? And don't even go into a philosophical like answer of like, oh, I'm feeling this because of that. Like, we're not there yet. Right now it's just, how do I feel? Begin to pay attention to the sensations in your body. Oh, I feel tension in my chest. I feel pressure in my stomach. It may be I feel like a lot of like a knot on my throat. I may feel tension on my shoulders or my head. And you can even ask yourself if that sensation, physical sensation, could have a shape, could have a, like any kind of shape. It can be a bubble, it can be a cloud, it could be a brick. What would it be? What color would it be? Like, just take your attention to it. And then the last question will be, what emotion could it be? And you may be surprised at the answers that come up. Right away, it may be, I feel alone. You may be aware, whoa, I feel so guilty and I've done nothing wrong. Like, what's going on? Or you may feel, I'm so ashamed, so afraid. Whatever the emotion at that moment, you're not there to fix it. You're not there to change it. You're simply there to embrace it. Every day that you practice this, as simple as the exercise seems, you begin to lower the amount of emotional pressure we carry all the time. I always give the example that it is like washing dishes. You wash the dishes after dinner. Yeah, not fun, but you do it real quick. You do a good job. Done. Fast. Over it. Or over. Then, if you don't do it that day and you wait 2 days, 3 days, a week, or a month, a couple of things happen. The dishes become harder to wash because the food dries up. The dishes from the other days begin to pile up. So a month later, you have a bunch of dishes you need to do. You begin to have symptoms of not washing your dishes, like it stinks. You hate being in your house or the kitchen. So the solution is doing it every day. So if you yet don't have a daily practice, it's going to be hard for you just to go one day, I need to stop eating donuts. Yeah, if you know if it's related to eating, you can force yourself for 7 days and then you'll go back to it. So what is that's going on that I'm not taking care of that is giving me the symptom of reaching out for food or addiction in any way? So that is what it begins. Now, this is, like I mentioned, the first steps because it's just identifying and giving your emotions some of your attention and awareness. Now, after you do that, I do recommend beginning a more like a deeper process of understanding this. And you can do that in many, many, many ways. You can do it through therapy. Okay, I've identified I'm very sad and I want to see where this comes from. And you can do it with a therapist and they may help you go deeper into what those emotions are. You can do it through having a personal practice that you do on your own. I personally teach and do the technique of emotional integration, where we learn to understand the ego and the patterns of the ego that help us move past having these symptoms of overeating or anxiety or whatever it may be. So yes, but the first step, I tell people, if you yet don't even have awareness of yourself, it becomes harder to really go deeper with the work you do with somebody else. So you can incorporate this. If you're already going to therapy, talk to your therapist about it. I'm practicing self-awareness of emotions every day because I want to make our therapy more available, or to go deeper, we could say, or learn emotional integration. One thing I'm going to do is that I filmed a little quick masterclass teaching you how to do a daily emotional check-in, and it's completely for free. I even made like a planner, because I love planners that you can print so you can keep track of your daily practice and you can have something to be accountable to. You can get that completely for free. I'm gonna put the link in the description so you can grab it if you want to. If you do download it, I'm gonna challenge you to practice it and then send me a message and let me know how it went. I will personally reach back to you and respond. So yes, when you do that and you have a more awareness of what you're feeling, then the next step, you're working deeper either with emotional integration, with doing any kind of journaling with yourself, going to therapy, then you're gonna have a bigger understanding, more emotional openness and freedom, so you can begin to change your habits. Not because you have to, but because you're gonna want to. Because your level of self-love and self-care and self-acceptance grows, that you go I don't want a third donut. It gives me heartburn. I don't even feel good. I have a sugar crash 2 hours later. So no, I don't want the other donut. You know what I mean? You're gonna do it from a place of self-love, but not because you have to. And I wanna remind you, I'm gonna be that person for you today. There is nothing wrong with you, with who you are, or with you, the way you have been dealing with life. You've truly been doing your best. And now we're all awakening together. We're all doing it together to learning how we can deal with emotions differently. So this is pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. If you have questions, if this video was useful, let me know. You can reach out to me in my social media at The Emotional Mastery Coach. And remember, you don't have to go through this alone. But anyways, I'll let you go. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. See you soon.